Okay, we are back.
The eye of the tiger.
It isn't the eye of the tiger.
That sounds just like
you,
the eye
you
of the
say that
tiger.
every freaking week.
It is the eye of the tiger.
Eye of the tiger. Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Joe, is that eye
What
of
he
the tiger?
says every week is Three Dog Night, which it is.
No, he keeps saying it's Rocky.
It is from Rocky.
Eye of the tiger?
Yeah. Who's the band?
It's like the lobby of a nursing home in you.
Joe, who's the band?
Are we going to do this again?
I forget every
That's
week.
what we specialize in. Again,
I forget every
Survivor.
week. Survivor. I forget. I forget the name of the
course.
band.
Oh, that's it, because you're old.
On the phone with us is the president of PSA, El Presidente, Joe Orlando. How are you, Joe?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Good, good. You're recovered, right?
I'm recovered.
Good. That's good to know.
Joe, how important is it for a collector to buy what he likes, aside from what a third-party service says?
It's a great question. I could probably talk about this for a few days. Well,
All right.
I think most people would be surprised by my answer. I mean, look, third-party authentication and grading, it's a permanent part of our industry, and it creates the kind of structure that the industry needs to compare one item to another in a sensible way, for people to have confidence. All of those things and more are important. However, it is very important for personal collector satisfaction that you buy what you like regardless of what a third party says. What I mean by that is simply this. Let's say you're looking at a baseball card. Not every 7 looks the same. Not every 8 looks the same. It's important that whatever you like, so for example, if you're a centering guy, that really means a lot to you. Well, the centering standards, whether it's 6, a 7, or an 8, they allow for leeway. So you might not have a perfectly centered PSA 6 or PSA 7, but you may be looking for one where you might not be as critical on corners. It's important that, the old saying is you buy the card, not the holder, and you could apply that beyond cards. It doesn't matter if it's autographs, bats, whatever it is. At the end of the day, it's your money, and you're doing this for fun, and you want to have fun, you want to love the stuff that you buy. Regardless of what a third party says, it's important that you pass on something that kind of hits you the wrong way. It just doesn't quite measure up to your own personal taste, and you move on to the next thing because, again, it's your money.
Joe, but now it seems as though it's and that's a great point. And it seems though now today, as opposed to 15, 16, 18 years ago, that it's easier for a collector to buy that card that he wants. Because, again, if he's looking for a PSA 6 in a particular card and scented the way he wants it scented, there's a good possibility that he can find that card already graded on a site like eBay, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, the third-party authentication and grading, the way I look at it, that's the baseline. So that creates the structure. So let's use your example. Someone's looking for a well-centered PSA 6.
Yeah.
Well, they know they want a PSA 6. They're going to find PSA 6s available in the marketplace. The only point I'm trying to make is they need to wait for the one that they like.
Exactly.
Because
right.
some people, they end up buying, sort of blindly. And they start buying the label. They start buying the holder without taking into consideration what their particular taste is. And I think it ends up leading you down a very bad path because you end up not using your own sort of critical thinking and your own taste for what you want. And again, this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be about what you like. And you would be surprised at how some people shut their brains off when they look for stuff.
Joe, it should be authenticated, though.
Yeah, the card has to be.
Absolutely.
It has to be authenticated, yeah.
Yeah, the baseline still has to be there. But again, you have a choice. You don't have to buy every PSA 6.
Right.
Find the one
that you want.
But I just think now, I'm thinking myself, if I'm going to buy an item, certainly it's going to be authenticated. But I'm going to look at that item. Sure, it's something I like, but in the back of my mind, I still feel, what is that card going to be worth later? Because of the nature of the business.
Sure, but let me tell you something about what you're saying,
All right.
because I found it, and I still find it fun, Joe, to buy. If you go into it, if you're looking at a raw card on eBay, I'm using eBay. I'll buy a raw card on eBay with no expectations, and I kind of look at that as part of the fun. In other words, it's a nice-looking car. It's a nice-looking card. It's eye-appealing. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. I know what I spent for it. Now I'm going to send it off to get it graded. And it's kind of like, okay, now what's it going to come back? What's the grade? And I try not to put an expectation on it. So sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. Sometimes I'm not pleasantly surprised. Is that a good thing, Joe?
Well, I mean, I think that certainly can be fun. It can be part of the process, submitting things yourself. But if I asked you to go buy a raw card that cost $10,000, I bet you wouldn't be willing to take that risk. So
you're right.
It depends on the gravity of the risk and other factors. But yeah, I mean, to Rico's point, I mean, of course, yeah, the baseline is to have it authenticated and graded because look, there's. Down the line, let's say you buy something today and you want to sell it 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Just because you love a PSA 3 of a particular card doesn't mean it's going to be worth as much as an 8 just because you love it. So
that's a good point.
There's a limit to it, but you still have to be satisfied. And quite frankly, there are situations where whether it's a card, it's an autograph, whatever it is, a bat, there may be some technical flaw that a grader or an authenticator can't get past when they're evaluating an item and assigning a numerical grade, but that flaw may not bother you as much as it bothered the expert.
Yeah.
So in some of those cases, like you may find a card, for example, that is, let's say T206, one of your favorite sets, Tom.
Yep.
Let's say you get a T206 that it's beautiful on the front. It has the appearance of a 6 or a 7 on the front, but it has some minor paper loss or something along those lines on the back, and it only grades a 2.5 or a 2 or something. And you may look at that and say, you know what, this is a great opportunity to get a card on the front that looks like a 6 or a 7, but technically it's only a 2.5.
Gotcha.
I'll pay a little bit extra for that. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you set your expectations.
Before we let you go, I'll bring something to, again, this is a story that goes back about 8 or 9 years ago when we were launching the book, and you explained it beautifully. If you recall, you remember when we did the book launch for the T206 book in Newburyport, we were sitting there, and I had a display of some of my cards, and I had my Ty Cobb green background card in the display. And when I sent that off to PSA, I said, this card is definitely going to come back a 6, 7. I was thrilled.
Yeah.
Came back a 4. Now, Joe, you were sitting next to me, and kiddingly, I said, look at this card. Look at this card. How could you possibly grade this a 4? And you said, I'll tell you how. And you pointed out this, and this. And I said, wow, you're absolutely right. So, I mean, you've got to understand how the whole process works.
Yeah.
So,
But the key is there, it didn't bother you.
Oh, God,
as far
no.
as the eye appeal of the card, you still love the card no matter what the number said. And,
Oh,
and that's the
exactly.
most important thing.
Absolutely.
all right, Joseph, we love you, brother.
Yeah.
And
Hey, have a great evening, guys.
All right,
I'll see you
thanks.
next week.
okay, we'll talk to you next week. Joe Orlando, president of PSA. So let's get back to Bri.